Hi, everybody. Hello. How's everybody doing? I am giving you guys a few minutes here to come in and get into the live. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Huddle time with Ronit. It is 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Central, it is 7 o'clock p.m. And right here in Seattle, sun is shining still. It is 5 p.m. And we're so excited. This is our first Huddle Time with Ronit on Monday evening on Facebook Live. Last week we had an Instagram and we had beautiful Ashley join us and telling us everything there's need to know about how to recruit, what's the best way to connect with new talent in our salon. So that was a really great session. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. So hi, everybody. Hope you're here. You're doing good. 1 till 10, if you want to just tell me how you guys are all doing. 1 being not so good, 10 being incredible. And we are going to start and bring our special guest in just a few minutes. And I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Tell me where you are, where you coming in from, how you doing. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm going to start in a couple of minutes before I bring my guest. And I just wanted to say hello to everybody right here from Seattle. Hope you guys are all doing great. We have a great guest tonight. Jenny Strebe is going to join us. And we're going to talk about, as always, high achievers, what we love to talk about, how to become more success, have more success, contribute to the world more. And we're going to share with you the tools and the tips of people that has done a lot of things that can share with us and show us the way. So for everybody who's just coming in, my name is Ronit, and I'm the host of Huddle Time with Ronit, and I am a salon business and a career success coach. My job here is to interview high achievers and highly successful people that are share with us their tips and their tools and their knowledge, successes, and their oops. You know, sometimes they're not such great success. It doesn't come easy, as we know. And how to grow and develop your career in the beauty industry. And so I can't wait to share with you what we have here for you. Huddle Time with Ronit was created for you with our partners, the Cosmetologists of Chicago of America. And they are planning some great events right now and planning really a fantastic year for us that is coming up. Soon I'm going to have Frank on the show so he can show us and share with us what's coming up. I'm so excited. Next week on Monday, we're going to have Vivian McKender coming onto the show and sharing with us some of her tools and tips and what we can do to even better our success. Hi, Bill. How are you? Hi, Jennifer. So good to see you guys. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for showing up. It is Monday night, so I don't know about you, but I have my tea. Some of you might have your wine. Some of you might have a cup of coffee. Some of you are working at the back room or in the front, and I'd love for you to tune in and come and share with us where you are from. So if you are, I don't know, anywhere in the world, just share with us. So let me know right here in the comments where you are, where you're tuning in. So, and now for everybody, just if anybody has any questions, please come and join me and follow me at Ronit Enos, Ronit's Coaching on Instagram. That's my handle, and also on Facebook. Or send me an email, send me some love. Let me know if there's anything we can bring to the show for you, and have any kind of question. I would love to see you maybe on my YouTube channel. Come and show me some love. But I want to talk about this incredible guest that I have today. It is, she is a master of her profession, Jenny Strebe. I'm going to read it out on my page because there are pages and pages of how incredible she is. But I had a great conversation with you, so I can tell you that the story behind her is unreal. of how she created an extraordinary niche. So with over 15 years of experience in the industry, where she created extraordinary high fashion looks, to a runway looks, to an everyday looks with hair. She's got an amazing passion for education and giving back education through this time of COVID-19, our situation. She has opened her YouTube and a live education for 30 days and shared with the world how to create beautiful looks on hair. And I have to tell you, I got stuck just looking at it every day, enjoying this. So she is wrote one of the most, and still writing one of the most popular blogs in America, The Convention of Hairstylist. She carved herself a great niche. She has over 600 following combined on her social media, which is incredible. And she is also have such a huge presence on YouTube. She published a book, and author of 3 hair tutorials books sold worldwide. First book is 100 perfect hair days that towards adults, braids, buns. And I actually saw her new channels with her daughter, creating some beautiful fashions on YouTube. So if you guys have not seen it yet, you must go and see it. And I just want to bring her out because she has so much more to share with us. Hi, Jenny. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you tonight?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
We're doing great. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on because it's just what you have achieved in 4 years and what you have achieved before that in 15 years of your career is pretty amazing. So high achiever is not just a sentence. It's your DNA.
I guess so. I don't know. I just, I'm a determined person and I always go for it. So.
Thank you. Jenny, tell us, what have you been doing in this past 3 months to overcome this lockdown?
Well, that's like a trick question, right? I mean, it definitely has been a very challenging time with being an entrepreneur and having my hair care line, trying to manage 2 children that obviously haven't been at school for the last 3 months, and balancing out being a social influencer as well. So it's definitely a day-by-day situation, and I think there's definitely been some challenging days, but at the end of the day you kind of have to like laugh about it and say, I just survived that and I can move forward, and tomorrow's a new day. So it's definitely been difficult at the home, especially not being able to work as much, or like having important phone calls with my children right there, because they're pretty much immune to the fact that I'm even taking phone calls at this point. They do not care. So a lot of bribery has been going on.
Oh, I remember those days. The minute you get on the phone, the kids are looking at you and they're immediately telling you, Mom, just get off the phone and it's all about us. So
yeah.
How was it? Because you had to homeschool them, and running the platforms that you have is quite a bit of a lot. You're just about to launch a new product line about 2 months before COVID has happened. And you have 2 children, and obviously there's so much to handle through all of this time. And so homeschooling is not easy. Every parents that I talk to, they're just ready to shoot themselves about 2 weeks into it. How did you manage to homeschool, and how did the kids take that?
Well, I mean, it was very difficult. And we actually launched our product line in January. So we launched it before COVID. So, with that going into the COVID situation, I mean, obviously there came a lot of challenges, trying to navigate inventory and just a lot of things that comes with being a brand owner. And the homeschool situation was it was actually hilarious. And I wasn't too hard on myself because there was days that it definitely was easier than others. My daughter, she's a super, like, she'll do anything on her own. She'll listen to her teacher, she'll do her homework, and totally fine. But my son was definitely more like, I need to hold his hand during the process. And they actually had their Zoom calls. So they actually had Zoom calls like within their classroom, and it was like an hour apart from each other. So one kid would start at 9:30 and the other would start at 10:30. And so that kind of created this chaos in the house, because then my son's upset because my daughter was already done with her schooling for the day. So it was constant chaos. I'll admit it. But for me and balancing, I mean, I wake up pretty early anyway, but I would make sure that I was up at like 5 a.m., getting through those work emails, getting through a lot of the work stuff to get them ready for their school. And, you know, I mean, my son probably could have done a little bit better, but at the end of the day, like, I mean, you can't be hard on yourself as a mother. Like, it's just the circumstance. And, you know, I think we did a pretty good job.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, did the kids enjoy having their mother helping them with homework every day, or they were like just done?
Well, at the beginning, I feel like we are lucky because Arizona, that was our perfect weather. Like, it was, you know, 60 to 80 degrees. So we just spent a lot of outside time. And I think they really enjoyed having me there. But now that it's like hot and they're still not in any kind of daycare situation, it's got a little trickier because there's not as much stuff to do. So then when they're not entertained, obviously they're getting a little bit ornery or whatnot. But
yeah. And so the studio that you're in, which is where you are right now, is actually down in the basement, or is it in the garage? But
no. It's in Old Town Scottsdale. It looks like a basement because I have concrete walls, but it's like there's outside. I can see the outside right now. You always go towards the outside window because natural lighting's key for these lives.
Yes, I know. So, you know, you right now you're working full time at your studio, and this is where actually you're getting all your inspiration as well. You know, it's important to me to really understand. You know, I know how it is in times like this, but even when it's not COVID, just working nonstop. And as a businesswoman to a businesswoman, I know what goes into it every day. And sometimes you get to think about it and you say, like, where do you get your inspiration, right? And sometimes I know for myself that I can get stuck in the dailies and stuck in what I must do and in managing certain situation, and I lose my inspiration. I'm not even talking about to get to the burnout mode, but I'm talking about just losing inspiration. How do you get inspired with all the tasks that you have to do?
I mean, it's really, so I'm in the studio a lot, but I actually only get clients 1 day a week. And when I'm in here full time, it's like taking phone calls, creating content, and whatnot. But I'm in here a lot just to get that solid time where I can make mistakes. I have several doll heads up there. I have my one go-to doll head. And, you know, I look at inspiration on social and even throughout history. And I always want to try to look at something and tweak it and really put my own stamp on it. But there's been times where I'm like, oh my gosh, like that braid looks crazy, or that updo looks crazy looking like this. But if I tweaked it and I took this section out and did this, you know, it turns into something that's beautiful. And so it's a lot of playing around. It's a lot of playing around.
It is. So it's, when I look at your work, which is absolutely stunning, and what I love about it is it could be very high end and very fancy, but it could be very wearable, like everyday, you know, hair that is wearable. What is your favorite? What do you like when you create? How do you get to be so creative, but in a way doing the things that you really love? What's your favorite looks?
I mean, I like messy. I like disheveled. I mean, it's funny because I can do like a tight braid, but then I always tend to like pull it out. But it's kind of my aesthetic. I've always been drawn to, I don't know, very kind of sexy, like you pulled it up yourself hair, kind of, you know, pieces coming down, because I feel like that's more like wearable than a lot of like the sleek styles, because you know, depending on like our clients' insecurities, maybe they want a little bit of hair around their face, maybe they need a little bit of height. But I always tend to really enjoy doing kind of disheveled, kind of messy styles. But with that being said, there always has to be structure involved in that.
Okay, yeah, because even to make something look messy is an art, right? Even if you wanted to create it, there's a lot to it. I know how much work it is. So let's talk a little bit about how you started it. So we talked about it, and you know, you're expressed to me that one day you decided that you're going to backpack and you're just going to take off, and you didn't know what you're going to do. It wasn't like a plan, the grand plan of Jenny Strebe. I am going to do this, and this, and that. It didn't happen that way, right? How did it happen?
Well, I mean, I've always been a person, like, if I truly believe if you say something out loud, like, you're kind of held accountable by the universe, your friends, whatever. And I remember like telling my girlfriend, like, I want to go to Europe. Like, I want to go live in London. I want to work in a salon there. And so no one really believed me. And I actually even, because I worked for a chain salon at the time, and they had some in London, and no one would take me serious. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go. And like, why not? Like, take some time off and go backpack the world. So I basically did that. I got rid of everything that I owned. I think I saved up like $4,000. So nothing crazy. I would never let my children do that. And I backpacked. And
you will have by the way, you will have no choice in the matter, just so you know, as you know.
No, I know. But like, thinking about it, and like, that doesn't get you very far. But when you're determined, and it's that, like, you're in that survival mode, you know, you'll make things happen. And I did. So I landed in Ireland first, toured all of Ireland, and went as far as the Ukraine. The Ukraine, I was doing some humanitarian work, but so I went country to country and was trying to get a job. And I got a job offer in Ireland and Den Haag, Holland, and Czech Republic. So, and then I chose Ireland to work, and I was backpacking, literally doing the whole hostel thing. And I would even put like a little like note or flyer like on my door, and it's like, if anyone needs a haircut, €20 haircuts, ask the girl in room C, bed 5 or whatever. And so that's kind of how I made by, like, I got by until that I started working in Ireland, in Galway, Ireland.
Oh, I love it. That's great. You know, there's nothing like Czech. So beautiful, isn't it?
Oh gosh, it's gorgeous.
What did you think about the people when you were there?
I loved it. I mean, I was like 24 years old or something like that. And so I think that for me, like, I'm a small town girl. I grew up in a very small town. And I think just like exploring the world and learning different cultures and just seeing how they do things, and even just being in hostels, like, learning about other people from all over the world, it was like really fascinating to me. It was amazing. And I think that really helped define who I am to this day, because I'm very open-minded. And I think a lot of those experiences definitely made me that way, and appreciate different things, history and art, and all of, because America's not as old as Europe. So it was really fascinating to see kind of some of these museums that, you know, you would read about. And yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, backpacking is such a great confidence booster, you know, and you did it all by yourself. It's not like you went with a friend, and you went, usually everybody gets like a little buddy and they go and they either split up or something, which I know it happens all the time. But to do things on your own, to kind of drive you through your fears and worries, it's liberal. It's like a liberty for you, you know. It's like, it's a freedom. It just gives you so much more confidence.
Well, I was with a friend at first, and we split ways, and then we got back together, like when we went back to Ireland. So I wasn't fully by myself, but for the most part it was. But I met friends, and
Yeah.
friends that I still am in contact with this day, you know? So yeah, it was incredible.
So while traveling, you've been working for Tony and Guy was it in Dublin?
It was in Galway.
Okay, so it's also a small town. It's not a big town. So how was it to work for Tony and Guy? What were I mean, I love Tony and Guy. I worked with Tony and Guy for many years. But there are also, even though they're a European country, and even though they're very structured and have an amazing structure for them, they're very unstructured. They're very liberal in their professionalism. How did you like working with them?
I loved it. I really did. And, you know, like I think, you know, even when I was in the States prior to going to Galway, I feel like that really helped define me into the hairdresser that I am today, because, you know, like you have to polish your shoes, you have to look presentable, you have to be professional, you need to all these things. And it's really, and it has instilled into me to really appreciate really fantastic, good, solid education as well. But in Galway, like I could have worked in Dublin, but for me, I was like, well, if I'm going to be in Europe, like Dublin to me was kind of like New York, is a melting pot of a lot of different cultures. But I was like, I might as well like go into the culture. And so Galway is a smaller town, but it was fantastic. I'd walk to work every day, and I would pass a bank that used to be an old castle, and we lived in this little cottage. I mean, it was awesome. It was definitely a really fantastic experience.
Yeah, very, very jealous. Anybody here who's a little bit later now with kids and everything else, you know, the time to travel is before you have children, because then it's different. Yeah. Mario says here how brave you are. And yes, and Bill says it's so cool. And it is cool. It is cool to travel. I don't think it's ever late to travel. Maybe different ways of traveling, because I know you're traveling a lot right now. But the basics, I would recommend. Wouldn't you recommend to anybody that doesn't have the commitment of owning a mortgage or owning, children, and not to just go backpack, go experiment? Yeah. Now, how did you do it with Tony God? Did you need to have like a certain visa to work for them, or was it
So at the time they were affiliated, and they still aren't, but like, so I just had to show up, and then I had to go through the visa process. So I had to do like a test out. I had to show them like a couple different haircuts, I think, and then a couple different styles to just, I think they wanted to make sure that I had the same training. Then we had to go through the visa process, and I only worked there for 3 months because, well, I was there for almost 10 months, but I only worked in Ireland for 3 months, and I was backpacking the rest of the time. And they were so cool. Like the owner was like, he offered me a job, and he said, come back when you need it, and you go travel. And that's what I did. So I traveled for 6 months, and then I came back and then worked for 3 months. But really the reason why I came back is because before I left, of course, I met my husband. And so, I don't know, like I just was like, wow, I'm seeing all this incredible things, but I didn't really have no one necessarily to share them with. So he came to Ireland for like a month, and then I decided to go home.
To go home. So you're back home, you're back here. Now you're making a different decision. Did you know what you wanted to do then? Did you set yourself goals?
Or? No, I mean, really it was just kind of, so I had started to booth rent. And so I had quit Guy, I started booth renting, just like, I don't know, create my kind of own business inside of the business. And then at the time, you know, like I wanted to get married. Like my husband proposed, and then it was kind of like on to like building a family. That was kind of like the next step for me. And with that being said, that's kind of how all of this kind of transpired into what it is, because I had my daughter, and she was such a good napper, and she would nap like 2 times a day for 2 hours, and I was bored, and I was like, working part-time in the salon 25 hours or so, because it's quite flexible when you're a hairdresser. It's pretty nice in that way. But I was bored and I needed to do something. And I decided to launch a blog, and I decided to name it Confessions of a Hairstylist, confessing new tools and tips and tricks and products that I came across. And I really missed education, because what I didn't mention, when I worked at Tony and Guy, I was a part of their art team. I went through the training to be artistic director and an educator. So I really kind of missed educating. So I wanted to just educate anyone that would listen. So that's what ultimately led me to my blog. And then kind of snowballed from there, I guess you could say.
And it's incredible, because I don't think that that the goals of bloggers at that time was to just build followers for the sake of becoming influencers, for the sake of becoming a brand partnerships with other ones. You had a whole different motives then. I don't know if you remember the whole constant content, and when MailChimp, when they came along, which about, I don't know, it's about 12 years ago, newsletters were news. It was a way to communicate with your client. So blog came a little bit later. At this point, I know you're not favorite of the word influencers, but you have influenced in so many great ways, right? And so having over millions of followers, it's incredible. How is a blogger, you said you don't have goals, but you actually do, because you're.
Well, I have goals now, but at the time when I had launched it, I just honestly was just trying to educate. And it was coming from like a really honest, authentic place, just to like have someone listen. And then as the numbers kind of started going up, and that's when Pinterest just launched. So I was putting my stuff on Pinterest, and then my numbers started skyrocketing. And then it was just such an incredible thing to see. And I'm like, wow, it kind of was like really amazing, this kind of impacting people. And then, people, editors, Modern Salon, and latest hairstyles, I think they were called, like, started having me be a writer for them. So just, again, it was kind of the beginning of social media, to be honest with you, because Instagram wasn't even a thing. And then I jumped on YouTube, and then jumped on Instagram.
Okay, so to be a blogger, to create that engagement that you have, what are the great tips to give our audience of what does it take to start? And what do they really need to do in order to get that engagement?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to brand yourself. And, I always think of it like this, like you want to make it like you're a thing. No one needs to know on the other side of the screen that you just started yesterday. Like, I don't care if you just started yesterday, but if you make the aesthetic look professional, you are the professional person, you are the master of what you're saying, people will listen. And I have lots of experience, and at that time I still had 10 years of hairdressing under my belt, so I had a lot of experience. So, but also it was like dedication and consistency. Like, if you want people to constantly check out what you're doing, you need to have something out there for them to check out. And I'm definitely not as consistent as I was, because I focus on Instagram and whatnot a little bit more, but consistency, and you have to like continue to plug it and put new fresh stuff in there and do your research. There was so many things that I had to research, like how to use keywords or images that I could use that didn't have copyright. Like, I had to Google and like do a lot of my own research just to figure out how to do, certain things. So, I mean, if anyone wants to start one, I think they should just do it. But, this is the thing too, is now there's these like Squarespace and all these amazing sites that you can actually use that are already templated out and look
amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah. And back when I did it, there was not. Like, I bet you I can find a picture of my first blog what it looked like. It was awful. I think I designed it myself. Like it was orange and green and weird colors, but now it's so easy. You can look branded with getting a subscription service with a Squarespace situation and design it yourself. So it's a little bit easier, I think. For sure.
Basically just be really consistent and develop content on a regular basis. Is there a framework of how to, and the reason why I'm asking you is because I hear that over and over again. It's like, what should I write? What should I say? Who am I to write? Who am I to say? I hear it over and over again when I speak with our members at Salon Cadence. And for example, let's talk about this. This is a favorite subject of mine. Okay. So we were talking the other day. We were talking about a specific project of developing a landing page for a lifestyle employment. So create a page, not a career page, but who you are and who do you think should come and work here and why. And I said, develop that first. And then the second thing you want to do is, why don't you develop a blog about the lifestyle in your salon, the lifestyle in your culture, and start working on that, right? And so, so everybody is worried about the conversation. What should they say? What shouldn't they say? So what are good tips to get out, to speak, What do you think?
Well, so I think it really kind of is going to really depend on what your intention is. Like, so for me, my intention was always to educate. So my message is always very educational. These are new tools. These are new products. These are new hairstyles, with the intention that I'm going to educate using my platform. So in that case, I think that there's a lot of variety of things that they can write, but I will say this too, and this probably isn't the best advice, but I have to feel it. I have to feel it in my heart. I have to love it. If I don't love a product, if I'm not inspired by a hairspray, like I won't talk about it. And so when I get these kind of bursts of inspiration, like that's when I go for it too, because I want it to come off super authentic. And I think a lot of times people that are new at it too will feel so forced that they're getting that writer's block because they're forcing themselves. But, I have a notebook in my purse at all times. And when I have ideas or whatever, I just jot them down. And I think, they just need to start coming from a really authentic place, but remember kind of what the intention is. Is it to educate? Do you want to have people come to your salon? Well, what are people, if you want people to go to your salon, what do you think people are researching right now? They're probably researching what salons are doing in the area to make sure that you're safe from COVID, or, you have to kind of put yourself in the client situation and then put that type of stuff. Like, you as a consumer, what would you be searching if you were trying to find a hair educator? For me, the newest tips, the newest hairstyling products, etc. So I think just, again, honing into that intention, consistency, make it very authentic, very true to what you stand for, and then do some of your research and put yourself in the other one's shoes of why they're searching for you, why they might stumble upon your site.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is to just write about what is you're passionate about. Because the more you write things about you're passionate about, and it could be anything. You can have a blog about something you cooked the other day, or maybe a story a client told you, or maybe an experience that one of your staff member had to go through that was amazing. Just every time, but as long as you're consistent.
And relatable. You want to give relatable content and something that they can actually take away. That's so important.
The value behind it. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Now, you're not, have you always spoke of specific products that you were very passionate about, or did you start from just expressing what you were inspired about, and it wasn't just about other products?
What do you mean? Sorry.
So when you were speaking or when you were talking or writing, in the beginning, how did you start? What were the topics that spoke to you to speak to others?
Gosh, I can't, like, if there was any like new tool that I came across or like a new product. I remember like blogging about like spray clay or something by Sexy Hair forever ago. And I mean, I wasn't, at the time, I wasn't getting products sent to me. I was going to the supply store and buying it myself. And then if I saw something was new, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to try this out and review it. But with that being said, I never put a review on there and bashed anything. I only showcase things that I actually liked.
So basically writing about others and promoting others and helping others was your how you relate to in the blog to other people. So
Mm-hmm.
the authentic came from that way. It was more of like developing trust with your readers.
Oh, 100%. And that was before like people were getting paid for that type of stuff too. Like I remember contacting some of those big companies that dish out money to influencers now. I contacted them all and I was telling them what I'm up to and I was showing them the views that I was getting every day on my blog. And like no one took it until later on, of course.
Yeah. Wow. That's a huge commitment out of your part. I bet it takes a long time to write 600 words or 1,000 words.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not a writer by any means. Like it was very difficult actually for me. But I didn't ever give up. Like
what did you have to do to become a better writer? What does it take to become a good writer?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I think I would go through my own stuff and kind of like, proofread it. But also I did hire like one of my clients that actually is a copywriter. She would go in there and kind of clean up and do some edits and I would just exchange haircuts with her. But it's tricky. It wasn't easy for me at all. I don't know. I think again, just being authentic, and if you need help, don't feel afraid that you can't ask for it,
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Totally off the subject of blogging. I loved when you said that you were a dreamer. You were always a dreamer. Mm-hmm. And you were always looking for the next thing to do, something next. And so next came the idea about air, which is
there's a whole lot of in between that.
Oh, okay. So
Instagram, I have an app. I did a tour in my VW bus with my family, and then yes, air. So
how did air came about?
Well, air actually came about. Gosh, it's almost been 4 years now. So that's how long I've been working on it, and really, So when I was doing my blogging, then came Instagram, then came YouTube, and then I was getting a lot of success from Instagram. And I worked with several manufacturers, and I started kind of I'm an empath. I'm a Cancer. My birthday's coming up, and I just like always want to feel connected to things. And I felt like I was becoming a paycheck. Like I would speak on their stages and I would get a paycheck. There was no follow-up. There was no connection. There was nothing. And it really turned me off, especially from my past at working at Tony & Guy, and it was so family oriented. And I was like, man, I kind of want this old school mentality of what I got into the industry. When I first got into the industry, and I'm a fresh hairstylist and feeling a part of this family, like I want that again. So air really came from that, like in the sense of I want to start my product line. And then how to be different is my mother-in-law is a gemologist, and she would always give me these little tokens or these little crystals, like, okay, you need, you guys are low on money this month. Here's a piece of jade, put it in your wallet. It's going to attract money. Or, oh geez, like you want to keep negativity away from you. Like, here's a piece of black tourmaline. And I remember clutching onto these things throughout my career and like, wow, this works. And if I could feel, even if it's a placebo effect or it's not, and I truly believe in it, I felt, why not put that into hair care to have this feeling of not only feeling beautiful from the hairstyle that you just created on yourself or your clients, but have this inside like wellness element from like the power of crystals. So it was completely organic. It was new. It was so difficult because my lab kind of laughed at me, to be honest with you. They were like, this is crazy. We've never heard of this. And then that just, of course, made me want to do it even more. And so it got to the point where they did not understand what I was saying, that I literally went to a local gemologist's house here in Scottsdale, Arizona. The guy's named Jimmy, and he's hilarious. And he pulverized into a micro dust different crystals. And I sent this to my labs and I said, let's put it in our smoothing cream. Let's da 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 da. And so then they kind of really understood that, like, no, I'm serious. So it was a lot of testing, a lot of developing. Didn't do it by myself. I have a partner, Devin Graciano, who helped me, who's been by my side the whole time. But really, we're just trying to, I think with influencing and whatnot, I feel like there's this a little bit lost feeling of that old school mentality of hairdressing, but then kind of having something new and fresh with the holistic. So again, just kind of doing something a little different, and this is it for me. This is my forever, and I'm so proud of it.
Oh, I think it's amazing. And I love what you said, that you were missing that family feeling. You were missing that. You felt like you were a walking paycheck, and there was no purpose or no connection. And I know what you're talking about, the Tony and Guy family. It's the best part about them. It's just have so many people together, and you felt like a family. So thinking about it, and you and I, we both know that TG was a great product to work with, and now you created something. It's like your third baby, right? It's your third baby, and but being unique about it is one thing, and I can't wait to talk about the benefits of crystals. But more than anything, so what are you thinking as far as supporting the education part with your product? What's your vision?
Well, it's funny that you ask, because we talk about it so much. I mean, we want to take it kind of that old school route of like kind of working up the tiers of education and going through those programs, because that is what really polished me to the hairdresser and speaker I am today. Like, I had to go to cosmetology schools to do presentations, and it's, again, helped polish me. So we're definitely going to take a little bit of that old school, but our approach also is very nurturing. We talk to our team. We don't have an official educational team yet. We have our Air Pro team, which is hairstylists that use our products. They plug our products. But I mean, Devin, my partner, she talks with them all the time, and we're very nurturing and listen to their goals and aspirations. But we're going to definitely take kind of a more of a old school approach when it comes to when we start building that out 2021.
I love that, because that was something that got me into be part of an ambassador for Tony and Guy. It was just because there was so much support of education. There's so much force. It was like, they were the first one who said, we created these products for hairdressers, by hairdressers. And so I love what you're going back to the old school, because that's what we need right now. I feel like we need
a little missing, to be honest with you. I think it's a little missing. And like, if you've been following me for a while, or anyone out there, like, you see me at hair shows, I'm very professional. I'm always positive on social. And those are the things that were instilled in me when I was going through training and going through leadership with the management team there. And there's so much value in that, there's just a lot of value in that.
Oh, absolutely. This is where we get our discipline. This is where we get our structure. This is where we learn the most when you do that. Mario is asking if you're hiring, because he's like, yes.
We just got to get through these couple little bumps on the road. And no, we will be. We're definitely, we're a baby brand. We just launched, well, technically in October, but in stores in January. And, you know, obviously COVID has impacted us, but we are rocking and rolling. And so beginning of next year, hopefully we'll have all of that program in place and start implementing it. So right now we're just kind of, you know, taking it week by week.
Oh, I am sure you're going to do amazing, Jenny.
I know we will. Like, we're good people, and like we've gone through a lot, and a lot of the, oh gosh, like the no's have happened to us, and we never gave up. You know, like it's 100% self-funded. I talked to like 7 investors. All of them said no. Hurt my ego a little bit, but I feel truly like that was meant to happen. And we never gave up, and we're here, and we're in 900 stores, and we're doing amazing things.
Well, it's amazing already. So, Jenny, you talked about self-funding your dream. Self-funding your dream. You're not coming from millions of dollars of money. You have saved $4,000 to go backpacking. You created haircuts on the road to support your trip and your vision. How do you do this? You must be really great with saving money. How do you do that?
I mean, I wish I was that influencer with like all the high designer stuff, but I'm not. I mean, I do like my nice shoes, I will say, and handbags. But, you know, I think it's just being like smart about things. I like nice things, but also, you know, starting small. And I think people realize you don't need to build a gigantic company tomorrow. You take baby steps. So the first product that we went into production with was actually our texture spray, our texture air. And so
it's beautiful.
Thank you. Went in production with this. And while we waited for, because I think it was like a 12-week turnaround, while we waited for this, and this is after like 7 investors said no. Okay. And I just said, F it. I talked to my husband and I said, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And it was December 18th. I remember the date, and we just put in our purchase order. So I got all my Christmas presents in, you know, bought, like we were fine. Like, let's just do it. So I did this. And so really my thought was, well, then when we sell some of the products, that we can have that proof of concept, because that was a big problem. The investors wanted to see proof of concept. So I said, okay, we'll do a one run of the texture spray. And so while that was in production, we actually made our Amethyst Hair and Energy Refresher. And we actually bottled this ourselves, our first run. And it sold so fast that then we, again, kind of just building up that working capital. But we're slim, only like 6 or 7 of us. And there's only, it means then, and we, Jamie, our marketing girl, there's only 3 in our leadership, and we have a lot of contractors right now. So it was just baby steps, putting the money right back into the business. I've only paid myself twice. And when I say paid myself twice, it's not that. It's like just a little chunk change. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah. There's so much that goes into a startup. There's so much that goes into, you know, putting the proof of concept and then change it again and fixing it again and changing and going back to the drawing board. It's difficult to keep going and keep going. And then you get, you know, the hurdles that you get in life, and nobody ever thought about, boom, pandemic coming and to interrupt and everything we do, and everything came to a halt. However, there's always some opportunities that come from times like this, such as e-commerce. And what are you going to do next now? How are we going to launch Air? And by the way, how many SKUs do you have in your line right now?
We have 8. We have 4 aerosols and 4 liquids. And then we have a shampoo and conditioner coming out in late fall. Hopefully late fall. It should be late fall. But there's so much unknown still with COVID.
Right.
But 2021 we'll have a lot more products. That's what we're planning for. But what's next? I mean, we've launched and we're doing good in Salon Centric, and our e-com's doing good, and we're just gonna build from there, like build up the SKU count, but also start building the team and really honing into that.
Mm, I love that. And we're here to support you every step of the way. So Jenny, as we both discussed before and we talked about it, it's not easy just going through life and creating the things that we want and to share. There's a lot of work going into it that a lot of people don't realize, or maybe they do. So out of your experience, when we create something, we start something new, or we want to do something, what are your advice when things get hard? What's the best way to go through and think about it, those hard times that you had to go through building your blog or trying to get investors for money and not being able to do it. There were many times I bet that you felt like I'm done. I'm so done. I've done everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's sacrifices that comes with it, marriage sacrifices, friendship sacrifices, your body and mind sacrifices. What are your tips? What do you think? What do we need to do? Should we quit? Should we not quit? When to quit?
Well, I feel that a lot of people need to really listen to themselves. There's an inner voice of telling you how to navigate that, and you've got to not listen to the negative ones. And a lot of us have the solution in our heart. We just got to listen to it. With that being said too, I think that, obviously, like, I have my pity party. There's been a lot of tears, a lot of cry laughing. So like, it's so bad you're laughing because it's so hilarious because you're like, of course, but crying at the same time. A lot of that has gone on. But I think at the end of the day, I was never a huge optimistic person. I've learned that because shit happens. Okay. Sorry, stuff happens, but there is a silver lining in everything. And if you can train and discipline your mind to look at that positive or that one silver lining, it will change your whole perspective. And that is something that I had to learn throughout the years. And, even with, for example, like even with my Salon Centric launch, we were 3 months delayed because our labels were flaking. And I said, nope, we can't do it. And I cried and cried and cried. We were running out of money. I didn't know what to do. And then we launched successfully in January. Well, point being, we had product to sell, like good product that wasn't flaking back in October. So we built our e-com business and then launched, and then COVID. If we were delayed, we wouldn't have any sort of e-com. Like, I don't even know what would have been happening at that point. So even though it was really tough and difficult, and I was like, my ego hurt because we were a little late on launching, the silver lining saved our butt. Like, it saved us. And I think if you can just train yourself to just push through the hard stuff, because that life is tricky and it's setting you up for something that you truly need to go through. Like, you need to go through that. Yeah. And you're only growing.
What you said is so inspiring, and I'm sure Mario and Bill, yes. And I'm sure you guys, all of you have gotten through some times when it's really difficult. You really want to do something, but you're afraid, you're not so sure, it's not working the way you want to. So for anybody, if Jenny and Ronit together can come and tell you guys, there is a silver lining in everything. There is. I think I'm just a couple years older than Jenny, but she can already tell you that when the hardest time, when they're crying, you need to listen to yourself. Do you want to keep going? And sometimes it tells you, one brain tells you, stop it, this is not good. And then the other brain, the subconscious brain, tells you, just keep going. There's always that little voice who tells you, just try it, just something. and something always come through, even though it's not the grand plan, even if it's not exactly what you wanted to happen. It does come true. I mean, if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't really probably know Ginny.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that I'm going to quote the silver lining from you and take it and put it on every tile. But I think that if anybody can listen to this and get inspired, especially now, that through all of it, good is coming. Good is coming. It really is. So I guess we're coming off. I told you I'm going to tell you when we get to the 45 minutes, but we're in the 55. And it goes in, oh, I know. There's so much to learn from you, Ginny. So I could always have another conversation, I am sure. But there's one thing, if you can share with us, what if you could gift a book to your best friend, what book would that be? That would be my first question, or almost last question.
I mean, this is kind of a silly one, and I don't know if anyone's heard of this, but it's really impacted my life. I read it and watched the DVD like 12 years ago, is The Secret. Have you heard of The Secret?
Oh, yeah.
The law of attraction, what you put out there, you get back, and it's fascinating. And I always have that in the back of my head. Like, okay, like you're driving and you want to just stay positive, or if you see a red light or you don't want to have a red light, a red light appears because you're like putting it out there in the universe. It's all about law of attraction, but definitely The Secret. I love that.
Abraham Hill, she's fantastic to watch her. Yeah, she is. I love it too. And if we can leave our audience today with a message, with any kind of messages come your way, and you can be authentic as you want on the Huddle time. What is the message that we can give? Because we already gave the powerful message of the silver lining, which I absolutely love, and Heather loves it.
I'm like, there's so many. I mean, it sounds so like cliche or simple, but I think people need to know they have the power to do anything they want. And I know a lot of people say that, but they definitely do. And I think the message would just be like, you have the power, like just go for it and no looking back, and make those mistakes and be yourself and just go for it. And I don't know where I got confidence, and it took a long time to build, but I think if people just go for it a little bit more and don't look back and hold back, they can achieve their goals. Anyone can achieve anything. And I think it really just kind of depends on them, and baby steps are okay, but just go for it. Don't have any type of regrets.
So good. So good. So for anybody thinking twice, think twice. It's okay. If you need to make a decision, maybe you want to think for another 3 times. But once you do, don't look back. Just keep going. And whatever happens will happen. Life happens for you and not against you. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So what's your favorite stone?
My favorite stone, I would probably... It's a toss between amethyst and black tourmaline, and I wear black tourmaline all the time. The amethyst, I have a really cool story. Can I share really quick?
Yes, and please tell us, are you going to have any jewelry stones on your side? Because I think we need it.
Well, my mother-in-law just sold her jewelry store. She's not a she's still a gemologist, but she just sold her jewelry store. So that would have been a possibility, but maybe we'll see.
Okay, I'm pushing for it.
Yes, totally. I mean, it would be a great idea for sure. But amethyst means emotional healing, and it has a lot of different properties to it. But so I do charity braid bar, and it to help fight against domestic violence. So this one time, the day just got really heavy. Everybody, it was actually at ABS Chicago. actually. Anyways, I did the braid bar, and women were coming up to me and telling me how they were impacted, like something happened with them in domestic violence, and they thanked me for being there, but they told me their story. So at the end of the day, I just felt so depleted, and I just wanted to cry, and I didn't understand why. And so I was like, I'm just going to put the amethyst closer to my body. And so I put it in my bra, and 2 hours later, it was poking me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what? I got to take this out. And I took it out, and I felt better, but the amethyst was clear. It's not this one, but the amethyst had completely turned clear. Wow. And so I feel like I drained its energy, but I felt a lot better. From it.
Interesting. So, and I totally believe in that. So for any time you're going through some emotional times, like right now, we are in the middle of emotional times. Would that be a good idea to get a few good stones and set them up in your stations, or set it up? So what stones should we get?
Well, amethyst, again, is for emotional healing. Rose quartz is to draw love, to bring love to you. Crystal quartz is a good one to kind of ward off, like to bring in positive thoughts and kind of ward off the negative thoughts. I don't know. There's so many. And
then you can have just air sitting on your station with all the dust in it. Yes.
There's amethyst in our hair and energy refresher. Amethyst in our smoothing cream. There's rose quartz in our hairspray. There's crystal quartz in our texture spray. So each product has
sitting on the hair. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Spray it right now. Yeah, I always spray this before and after each client too.
Would you spray it over a little bit? Just bring it over.
No. It smells good.
Oh, well, this was such a fun time, Jenny. Thank you so much. Everybody, so excited to have Jenny today. I hope you had, guys, a really great hour of power with the silver lining. And we're going to see you next Monday with Vivian Mekender. We're going to have LaShawn in 2 weeks on Monday, and she's a financial money coach guru, so you don't want to miss that. You heard Jenny talking about saving money. And you know what? If she did not have the money, she wouldn't be able to get her dream to come true. Yes, she would find the way, I am sure, but having the money is a little power there, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to see you guys next Monday. Please let us know. Come and visit me on Instagram. Visit Jenny. We're going to have all the links and all those beautiful quotes right here updated. And come see us. See us on YouTube. See us on Instagram, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Hold on, Jenny. Don't get off.